I'm Liam Palmer. I run the team at PA Consulting that takes operational problems for our financial services clients, fixes the problem and makes sure that they don't return. So we think to compete effectively in global markets, there are 4 universal operational challenges. Managing risk without increasing complexity, reducing cost without causing problems with quality, growing the company at a lower cost, and deliberately differentiating and partnering across your value chain. So what those 4 challenges have in common is that all of them can only be achieved through changing the way that you lead, manage, and engage with your people, and how your teams deliver the product and think and react and make decisions in a different way. So let me explain that, giving examples from the 2 markets you specifically mentioned. So in financial services right now, we've got clients who are spending 70 to 80% of their change budget just to stay up with the regulation. So they're spending very little money on themselves, their customers, the opportunities, the things they should be spending their money on. But despite that enormous investment of hundreds of millions, even billions of pounds, they are caught in a vicious cycle. So each regulation becomes a patch. Each new law, each new incident requires a time-critical solution. The company becomes more complicated, less agile, more, not less risky, and much more expensive to run and change in the future. So in the case of business services, the challenge is about relentlessly reducing cost without losing quality. So we have clients who have these enormous, complicated, geographically dispersed, often low margin contracts that they've won with very high performance promises that they've made. So the only way that you can survive in that environment is to have scale, to have the best technology, to have the right processes and geography and design. But that's still not enough. You need the best management system, the best people, the team operating in a way that is highly efficient and effective. And that last part is extremely challenging. It's all about people, and it's really under invested in most business services companies. So it's become quite normal to talk about people, process and technology, or PPT, as the critical success factors for a transformation. And actually we disagree with that. We think it's very much about people and then helping your people to use different processes and different technologies. But if they use them in the same way as they did before, you're not going to get a return on your investment that you need. Because of those 3 components, often the technology may be the most expensive. So we strongly believe that the critical component in a transformation is about the management system. So if you come with me to the Nissan Renault plant in Sunderland, which is the most efficient car factory in Europe, if not the world, and what you'll see is this very much in practice. You'll see workers building the cars and operating the equipment, but having complete control of their work. You'll see supervisors removing blockages and noticing anything that affects that flow or affects the ability of the workers to do their job. And you'll see leaders utterly role modeling a robust operational culture and style. And that combination is what makes that factory the best in the world. So we think there are several ways to be successful, but there are clearly some things that don't work. Failure modes or problems that we see all come down to really 2 things. One, not wanting to do the hard design and thinking that is required to run a mature operation. And then secondly, it's also a lack of willingness to change the way that you behave and your team behaves. So everyone talks about digital processes these days, but if you're moving to a digital world with dramatically fewer staff, that doesn't mean that those staff can still behave and think in the same way as they were before when they had paper processes. We approach every engagement with the same 3 starting points. So first of all, if you assume that the problem you're facing is the system, is the way that you're running the company, the way that you are running the company, managing and supervising, and the way your team are responding to that and how they're doing their job. In that construct, you will find most of your problems. It's something that Deming said. It's something we very much believe. So as a starting point, it's a great one, and through my career, it's really helped me to identify the root cause of most enterprises or challenges. So secondly, if that's your governing thought, then the second thing is I would strongly suggest that you do exactly what we do when we go on an engagement, which is to walk the process and walk the work and talk to the people. So that may be challenging in large enterprises, but you would be amazed the number of people at senior manager level who have never done that. Operations managers should be on the floor, walking the floor, talking to their people. And if you do that, we strongly suggest that you will learn so much that the more simple problems you'll be able to fix with your team on the ground floor. Which leads me to the third point, is that you don't need transformations, which is a bit of a buzzword. You don't need programs. Operations is firstly about continuous improvement. It's about delivering a stable quality product every day. And part of that is learning how to be better every time that you finish a shift. So one thing we measure is OEE, operational equipment effectiveness. And we have customers who measure it once a month, but we have customers who measure it every day. So all that is of my factory, how much did I use today? How much could I have used today? And just trying to move that number up and up every day over a few months, you'll be amazed how far you can move it. So you'll see from our view of what the 3 success factors are, that they're all about leadership, management, the people in the team, and different ways that you can engage your people and think how you think about your operation as a group of people producing a quality product who happen to be using processes, happen to be using facilities, happen to be using technologies. But the way that each person does the work, makes decisions, uses what they observe every day, or doesn't, is what leads to the strength of your management system. And your management system is the competitive advantage for operations. And it's becoming increasingly evident that that's grotesquely undervalued by many companies. Maybe it's because it doesn't viewed to be sexy or topical. Maybe it's because it's hard to measure. But if you go into a robust, mature factory, you absolutely can see it. And that performance, as I've described earlier, comes through to the numbers every single day. So operations is about people, and those of us who work in the area might be known as people who work with process and technology, but actually it's only through the people that we can make the process and technology sing for the customers.